Hello. Unfortunately, it has come to my attention that a lot of you relate to my stories about my past relationship with the narcissist who is 13 years older than me and verbally and emotionally abused me, essentially. And I'm really sorry that so many of you relate to that. That is unfortunate. And it is quite crazy that so many of us who struggle with alcohol also struggled with, abusive relationships. It breaks my heart. And that relationship is a really hard thing for me to talk about, to be honest. That's why I haven't really dove deep into it on the podcast. I've started to a little bit more, and people are starting to share their stories with me and just saying like, oh my gosh, I relate to you in so many ways. And it's actually quite sad that so many of us have gone down a bad path of drinking, largely due to the fact that we were in bad relationships. It seems to be an unfortunate, consistent theme. And that's kind of a bummer. But anyway, I don't know yet what this episode is going to be about. I know that I'm going to talk about things a little bit more openly, but I don't know where it's going to go. And I just hope that in sharing this, some of you feel comfort, you feel seen, you feel understood. Because trust me, I understand why you might turn to alcohol to deal with something like this. So I guess I'm going to share a little bit about my relationship, what I'm comfortable sharing, and just like some tips for how I've healed from that and what it was like to go through that. I don't know. We'll see where this goes, but thank you for listening. Thank you for being kind. And like, we're all in this together. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm here for you guys just as much as you're here for me. So thank you. And let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Sober Scoop. This is a judgment-free zone where we talk about how to get sober and stay sober. You're not alone. I hope you feel seen. Quitting alcohol is the best decision I've ever made. So I just made a video about memory in sobriety, and it reminded me of a situation in my relationship that I was in. So the video that I made was about how our memories are so bad in sobriety, as drinkers, as really heavy drinkers, because like we drink through everything. So memories cannot really like absorb in our system. And even for good memories, like my most recent boyfriend, who that was actually a very healthy relationship, it ended amicably. He used to get frustrated with me because I couldn't remember our first date or these really significant milestones, like what we did for our 1-year anniversary. I'm like, was it this or was it this? It's not our 10th anniversary, for gosh sakes, it was just a year ago at the time. So he would get frustrated that I couldn't remember these like amazing things that we did together, or like what he got me for my birthday. I would lose these details. And I think it's because I drank through most every situation. And so recalling the details of a situation that happened a year ago, I have like no chance. And so I used to have him like tell me stories of our relationship. And I would sit there on the edge of my seat listening like, oh, wow, that's so sweet. Like as if it was happening for the first time. It was crazy. It was like I had early onset dementia or something. My memory was so bad. And I would outwardly express that to people. I'd be like, oh yeah, I just have a super bad memory. Oh, I don't remember. Oh yeah, that happened? Okay. Like if people told me something happened or I said something or I did something, I would just have to believe it as truth because I don't remember. And that's what made me remember, well, not one incident, several incidents that I had with my bad ex, I should really have like code names for these people or something, but the bad ex-boyfriend who was the narcissist, 13 years older, and just treated me horribly, stalked and harassed me after the relationship, that guy, he would use my memory loss from drinking against me. And he would treat me horribly, say horrible things, just make me feel awful, threaten me, just playing these games. Oh my God, the mental games were insane. Making me feel like I'm the bad guy when he's treating me badly. Anyway, so he'd treat me horribly. I'd be in tears, but we're drinking. And, we're drinking, I'm crying, it's just awful. And then the next day I wake up and obviously I'm like, we need to rehash what happened last night. Like, that was not cool what you did to me or what you said to me, or how you embarrassed me, or, I wanted to let him know that that was not okay. And he would say, what exactly did I do? What exactly did I say? And I would be like, I don't remember word for word what you said. Like, we were both drinking. I don't remember exactly what you said, but you made me feel this way. And I remember you were calling me really not nice things. And he'd be like what? What did I call you? And I'd say, I can't remember the exact words, but I remember you were calling me bad things and it made me feel horrible and it put me to tears. And I was really worked up about it. And he would say, well, you can't even remember what it was, so it probably didn't happen. And you're probably hungover now, so your judgment isn't even right. Like, I probably didn't say anything. You were just perceiving it to be that way. Or you're probably on your period. Or, no, you were just going through something else and you let that trickle into our conversation. Like, I didn't actually do anything. Have you guys seen that movie? Oh my God. Why am I blanking? It's the one with Blake Lively that like recently came out that was about the book, and the boyfriend ended up being like physically abusive towards her. But you don't know that until the end. And there's all these accidents that happen. And then in the end, they reveal like they were not accidents. This guy was like abusing her. Anyway, it kind of felt like that, where it was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, you didn't do those things to me. I can't really recall exactly. And you're telling me that they didn't happen. So I guess they didn't. And he used to basically encourage me to drink. He's the one who introduced me to morning drinking. He's the one who showed me, like, you drink to get through hard things. You drink when you're sad. Like, you drink to mend our relationship. He's the one who introduced me to all these unhealthy ways of drinking. Yet he used to put me down for over drinking. But then I think he secretly liked that I drank because it would make me not remember the details of our fights and things that happened. Wow, lots to unpack there. That's what I'm talking about, it being so many mental games. I was losing my mind. I was literally losing my mind. Not to mention the memory situation, and I could never recall details, but I was like literally going crazy because I was like thinking that things happened when apparently they didn't, because he's telling me that they didn't, but he's brainwashing me. Oh my God, it was just so hectic. And all of that stuff got to a point where I was like, I'm sick of not remembering what happened and you like using that against me, basically. I started writing down what he said. And then he got mad at me for that, of course, too. And he's saying, why are you writing down everything that I'm saying? Now I'm never going to feel comfortable talking openly. That's not healthy for a relationship. I also, at some points recorded when he was going off, screaming, yelling, saying the most horrendous things that I will not repeat, but just completely ripping apart my character and making me feel like a horrible human being. And when he was doing all of that stuff, really pulling on the heartstrings, my emotions, using my darkest secrets against me, when he was doing all of that stuff, sometimes I would record him secretly, which apparently is illegal because he told me that he was going to get lawyers and like take legal action against me because I was recording against my will, or against his will. So I better delete those or else I'm going to go to prison. He used to scare me so much. And you know what? Just to piggyback off of that, that's why I haven't talked about this stuff, by the way. I'm just praying that he doesn't hear this, because I'm still to this day scared. He used to call me Amber Heard because I, in his words, would make up stories about him. And he's like, if you ever put that out there, like, I would come for you. I would sue you for your life and your children's life and your great-grandchildren's inheritance, or whatever. All of their earnings for 6 generations to come. Oh my God, the threats. He would always be threatening me with legal stuff. It was so weird. We're in a relationship. Like, we're together as a couple. And he was threatening to take legal action against me all the time. It was so bizarre. And that's how you really instill fear in somebody, especially when he is so much older than me. I just believed what he said as truth. And I really did believe that if I talked to my family about this, or talked to a therapist, or told anybody about the things he was doing to me, the things he was saying to me, the way he was treating me, that I would somehow be punished. And like, oh, all this money, oh my God, he scared me so much. That's why I'm still to this day so scared to talk about the details of that relationship. And that's why I'm not really going to say anything specific, and obviously I'm not going to name any names, for God's sake. This is just a mystery person that we're talking about, right? To protect myself. I'm still scared to this day to talk about this, to open up about this. I'm writing a book, actually, spoiler alert, about my sobriety, and I feel like my story with this guy is a big part of me that I almost need to release at some point. But I'm scared. I'm too scared. And you know what's crazy is that I'm still scared even after I won. And what I mean by I won is that after our relationship, I successfully got a restraining order. And it kind of like proved that every threat he made was false. Every time he said, don't you dare tell anybody about this, delete those photos or else I'll sue you, all these threats against me. When I finally said enough is enough, and I did go to get help, and I got a restraining order after he wouldn't leave me alone after the breakup, I won. I had stacks of paperwork of all these different ways that he had stalked, harassed me, threatened me, all this stuff. I had photos. I had tons of evidence. And I won. I was granted the restraining order. I don't even think he tried to fight it, because his lawyers probably looked at that and said, you know what? She has so much evidence here. You have no case. You better just let this one go, buddy. And it's true, I did have so much on him. And that this is a piece of advice for anyone who might be going through this type of a situation. Start logging your incidences. Start logging the things that they say to you, and verbal is hard, but start screenshotting texts and putting them in a folder. Any visual evidence that you have of this person treating you badly, record that somewhere. Like, little did this guy know, after our breakup, when he started stalking me and leaving things on my car and leaving things at my doorstep and leaving things with neighbors and calling me 80 times a day, little did he know all of that was building a case against him to make him finally stop one day. He was leaving a trail for himself. This guy who thought he was so smart and so legally savvy and like would always win, and like he totally failed. He left a trail of evidence against himself. And I used all of that to get my restraining order and finally find some peace. And while we're on that topic, a restraining order is just a piece of paper. So in my case, it helped. I don't want to give too many details here, but let's just say that this particular guy does not want to risk any sort of law enforcement interactions. I don't want that to sound too like ambiguous. Just for whatever reasons, this guy does not want to get like in trouble with the law. Okay, so a restraining order scared the living crap out of him, and he was like, I cannot break this restraining order. Like, I'm gonna follow this. And so it worked in my case. But a restraining order is a piece of paper. And if you are going through something like this and you are genuinely scared for your life, you need to do something beyond just the restraining order. I mean, I changed my phone number, I moved apartments. But if you need to like stay with somebody or get help beyond that, like be in a safe house type of situation, there are resources for that. If you go down to your local court, like your local courthouse, you can just ask somebody where their social services are, or you can ask like, where do you apply for a restraining order, which I know is embarrassing to ask, but that gets you to the right place. And then there are some ladies there who are specifically there to help people going through something like this, and they can help protect you. I felt so lost throughout this process until I found those ladies. Oh, like when I talked to those gals at the courthouse, it finally made me feel like somebody understood what I was going through and like was actually going to help me. The whole way I felt like too scared to take any action for a really long time because of all of his threats. And then just like so lost. I looked up on YouTube and the internet, like how to get somebody to stop harassing you. And there's not a lot of information out there. But when I talked to these ladies at the courthouse, they gave me everything that I needed. And they were like, girl, you have plenty against this guy with all these screenshots of things he's texted to you and 80 phone calls a day, screenshots of the call log. He would call my apartment call box multiple times a day and show up unannounced. So I have logs of all that. I mean, they were like, you're going to get the protective order, no problem. And I didn't think I was. I thought that the judge would see my case and just be like, no, it's not significant enough because he's never actually physically hurt you. So no. But he granted that thing almost immediately because I had so much. And that was just like the reassurance that I'm not going crazy and I'm not going to be the one who gets in trouble with the law. It's this guy who's doing all the stuff to me. And I'm sorry that I'm being so vague with a lot of these details. I wonder if one day I would feel comfortable like actually sharing the types of things he said, the types of things he did, but hopefully giving at least a sprinkle of the details like starts to paint the picture for you. But it was bad. And what I'm saying is that like I was too scared to get the law, or whatever, the court system involved, but it was the best thing I ever did. So if you're going through something like that, don't let your abuser convince you that you're going to be the one who gets in trouble. Like, no, the person doing the abusing is going to be the one who gets in trouble. The person doing the stalking, the harassing, all of that is going to be the one who gets in trouble with the law, not you. But this goes back to my little PSA, like a piece of advice to write down when things happen and just notate everything. Anything that he left on my car, he was like obsessed. And so some things were threatening and mean and evil and really quite scary. And then sometimes it would be like the next day he's leaving roses and a love letter and notes and gifts. It was so weird. It was one day, you better be careful, Gantz. You're going to get in trouble here. I'm going to sue you for your entire life's money, your entire net worth, and your parents' net worth, and your kids' net worth, and their kids' net worth. You're done for. And then the next day it's, oh my God, I love you so much. I'm so sorry. Here's some flowers. Here's some golf balls for your next round with sweet love notes on them. Like, oh my God, the back and forth was insanity. It was crazy. And I kept all of that. Every gift that he left for me, every note, every time he came around my house, anytime I saw his car outside my place, I took a picture of it. Just notate everything with times. That's the other thing too, is they need times and dates, which is really hard to get. But if you're going through something and you start notating those things now, you'll have it for when it's finally time to take action. So anyway, like I said, I didn't really know where this was going to go when I started this episode. But apparently people are resonating with this type of content. I don't know. So if you have any further questions or like want me to dive into anything specifically, I'm happy to do that. Obviously, this is a sobriety podcast, but this topic is very relevant because I believe that it's the reason that I developed the problem with alcohol that I did, which, call me crazy, but I'm able to even spin that experience into a positive because all of that horrible stuff that I went through led me to this life that I have now, which is a sober, happy life where I live in peace. And I don't know if I ever would have got sober if I didn't go through that horrible time. So, yeah, I don't wish that upon anybody, obviously. Not my worst enemy. But having gone through that has led me to this life where I am now, and I couldn't imagine it any other way. So, I don't know. It's weird. I'm not grateful for it, but it's led me here, so I'm grateful for sobriety. I don't know. What am I even trying to say? I'm not sure. This topic is so hard for me to talk about. My thoughts are so jumbled and all over the place. I didn't have any notes written down to talk about this further. But narcissism and emotional abuse is a really hard thing to go through. And I used to say that I wish he would have just hit me. And I know that sounds horrible, but that is so much more clear. When somebody physically hurts you, harms you, that's a pretty clear sign that that's an unhealthy relationship and you need to get out of there. But the emotional abuse and the mental games and just the narcissism, the brainwashing, all of that it's not so obvious. It's confusing. Oh my God. And you're just like, am I going crazy? Am I the problem? Is this all my fault? And he really convinced me that it was. So I think that's why it was so hard for me to leave. And I tried to break up with him 6 times before finally the 7th time I stuck to my guns and didn't come back to him. I didn't get convinced that actually our relationship is amazing and we are wonderful together. And what was I thinking breaking that up? I must have been on my period or drinking or something to make that sort of a decision. Or your family's convincing you. Your family's having too much of an impact on you. Your friends are in your head about that. Like, don't let your friends tell you about your relationship. Focus on your relationship. Oh my God, he isolated me from all my friends and family. It was horrible. So anyway, finally the 7th time I was successful in the breakup, and then that's when the stalking and harassment happened, but then I got the restraining order, and finally I started to heal after that. If you're going through anything like this, always feel free to message me on TikTok, or you can email me, indiagans@gmail.com. Yeah, I'm so sorry if you're going through this, but you will make it out. When I was in that, it felt like I would never find a way out of that. But you know what? You do. The days are long and hard, but you do make it out eventually, and you do start to heal. It's been a very long process, but you can do it. So, thanks for listening to this episode, and I love you guys. Bye.